So the current state of the economy sucks. So why give a fuck about style? Well, first up, first impressions still matter. Whether you're job hunting, pitching a client, or just out networking, your appearance, the way you dress, speaks for you before you open your mouth. By designing and therefore controlling the message your image sends, you're at least exerting what control you can in the current economic climate. By crafting and therefore controlling the message your image sends, you're at the very least ensuring that your image works for you, not against you. Next up, the clothing we wear has an effect on us. The right clothing can make you feel more confident. It can even help you perform at a higher level. Seriously, the research here coming out of the field of enclothed cognition has shown in numerous studies when we wear clothing that is intentional, clothing designed to help us perform at a higher level, well, guess what? You're then mentally locked in, you're in the zone, and you do perform at a higher level. In addition, in a world of hyper competition, dressing well can set you apart from the crowd, set you apart from those you're directly competing with for that job, for that opportunity. Next up, let's talk about the law of attraction and opportunity. I don't want to get too woo-woo here, but how many times have you judged somebody or looked at a woman because physically you find them attractive? Physically, they fit your idea of what you're looking for, or as someone that you perceive to be competent. Well, gents, if you dress in a manner that you look like the man in charge, that you look like a successful person in your industry, well, guess what? By default, many people will treat you that way. And over time, this compounds and often results in hidden opportunities. You're invited to run that project because you look like you can handle it. You're asked to attend an event because you look the part. Your boss's boss wants you in on that presentation because you look like you can handle it. Now, is any of that fair? Does any of that really make sense? No, but most decisions are made by emotional human beings who oftentimes don't use logic but their own flawed biases to make decisions. So knowing this, leverage that by looking the part of a success. And finally, let's talk about self-respect. You have no control over company layoffs. You have no control over your whole department getting shut down. But what you can control is yourself. How you show up, how you respect yourself with the clothing you put on your body, and how you put yourself together to meet the day even when you're out there looking for work. Now, specifically, if you're tight on funds but you want to look like $1 million, guys, focus in on putting together one solid outfit. The pieces we want to build off here are going to be versatile, interchangeable pieces that are going to be able to mix and match, mostly made up of neutrals. Neutrals are the base colors that are going to pretty much mix and match anything, and in my opinion should make up most of a man's wardrobe. Examples of specific items are going to be a dark pair of trousers. So dark colored jeans that fit you well. This is a great place to start if you have a more casual wardrobe. And if you don't want jeans, you want something a little bit dressier, maybe look to a pair of dark colored performance trousers. I usually default to gray. I'd stay away from black, a little bit too stark of a contrast, but medium gray, charcoal gray, those colors right there in the shades in between like slate, stone are going to be the easiest to match with any shoes, shirts, or jackets that we throw with them. Next up, we've got shirts. When it comes to neutrals here, look to whites, any of the pastels. That's going to be light blue, pink, lavender, mint. But in general, if you're just getting started, stick with the blues, stick with the whites. They're going to be the most interchangeable pieces in your wardrobe. Now, what about darker colored shirts like navy or pattern shirts with stripes in them, like these blue stripes on white or this light blue here in Glen Check? So first up, patterns are going to make the shirt more casual. That being said, that white shirt with blue stripes, that could actually still be worn with a suit because it's a dress shirt in a classic design. That navy, on the other hand, even though it's solid, it is a darker color and I think could look fine, especially worn without a jacket with those trousers or jeans, as it would create a clean silhouette between the trousers and shirt, but it's definitely going to be more casual than a classic white collared shirt. Now with your shoes, you want to keep it simple. You can go with a pair of dark colored boots. Chelsea's are a great option that you can dress up or you can dress down. If in general you go for a more casual look, maybe look for a dark brown laced boot. Dark browns like this are going to go really well with the blues in denim and a navy blue shirt or polo if you were to keep it casual. And if you wanted to dress it up but still keep it versatile, one pair of shoes to go with them all. A dark brown or black pair of Bluchers would be a great option. And if you wanted to add a bit more style, maybe even a pair of brogues. Now for jackets, you can keep it casual. As you can see right here, I've got a safari jacket, got the 4 pockets. Overall, very casual look. You could go with olive, change it up, go with a tan or even a lighter colored, even an off-white. And if you wanted to dress it up, maybe bring in a structured jacket. Tons of options here, whether you wanted to go with a blazer, which is just going to be below a suit, or you could go with a sports jacket. Sports jackets come in a variety of patterns, or they could even be in solids. Now, what you probably noticed as I was putting all that together is how interchangeable the pieces are. Your goal here, as you build that outfit on a budget, is to be thinking, okay, I can easily change out the shirts, I can easily change out the jackets, maybe even change out the shoes or the trousers, and it's going to work with the other pieces I have. If you just had 3 pairs of shoes with 3 different pairs of trousers, with 3 shirts, and 3 jackets. Think about it. That's not 3 outfits across the board. If they're interchangeable, that's 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. That is 81 outfits from 12 pieces of clothing. And I know, gents, if you've watched my channel, you've probably said, Antonio, I've heard you talk about this before. Well, that may be the case, but I got to ask, are you actually implementing that into your wardrobe? Because if you want to save money, if you want to look good when times are tough, one of the keys isn't buying cheap clothing. No, it's just buying less, but still buying quality. Next up, let's talk about how to actually buy the pieces and save money. So first up, never buy something just because it's on sale. If it's 90% off, but you never wear it, it is a waste of money. Never buy anything that can't be adjusted to fit. Yes, it was a great deal, 95% off, but guess what? It's 3 sizes too big. You're not going to grow into it. No, only buy clothing you're going to wear that fits you. Again, that is interchangeable. Now, if you've been dressing yourself for a while, you've probably got some of your favorite brands. What I would recommend is going directly to their website and getting on their email list. Yeah, you may be bombarded with things you don't want to hear, but you will be also notified whenever they've got their great sales. And I'm on a number of these lists, and seriously, some of these brands have 40%, 50%, getting rid of old styles, clean out excess inventory. Seriously, if you look around, even brands like Suit Supply have some really good deals out there. Next up, let's talk about buying used. Now, eBay is the old school staple, but if you're looking for better deals, maybe check out Facebook Marketplace or Poshmark. And if you're traveling, stop into thrift stores. I know some of you guys in the big cities are like, hey, mine are always picked over. Well, then when you're on the road, you're out traveling, stop into some smaller towns. I know here in Wausau, Wisconsin, we've actually got some great items in ours. Yeah, sorry for my local friends. I probably just ruined it for you. And by the way, if you go to a thrift store enough, maybe talk to the people that work there and find out when they're putting new items on the rack. If you're the first one there, guess what? You get first picks. Another website I've seen is Grailed. And if you're really wanting to get creative, maybe look at estate sales. Seriously, what happens to all that clothing when the style horse passes away? Yeah, his family doesn't know what to do with it. Well, guess what? You do. And this last one, I swear, I see too few guys doing this, and that is simply to ask for help. Gents, what is it about us men that we are too proud to reach out to our network and say, hey guys, I'm looking to rebuild my wardrobe. This is my weight. These are the sizes I usually wear. Do you know anyone that has some extra clothing? Because here's the deal. I don't know about you guys, but for a lot of us, we have tons of clothing we would love to give away or unload onto a family member or a friend who needs it. And the best part about this last one, it's usually free if you just come pick it up. Next up, let's talk about shoes. So I personally am hesitant to use the word invest when it applies to clothing. I'm investing in investments, but shoes are one of the items that you really want to make sure you get right, and in general are going to be one of the most expensive things in your wardrobe. But if taken care of, they can last you years, if not a decade. So first, again, the earlier rules I talked about, only buy shoes that you are going to wear, and make sure to buy it in a color and style that's going to be interchangeable with everything in your wardrobe. But that being said, once you've identified a brand, a particular style, you know that, hey, this is going to be a great deal, then get all the information about that shoe from the product number to making sure you've got your exact size down, and you want to be watching for deals. Again, with that particular brand, be on their email list. Reach out to them. Ask, do they have student discounts? Do they have military? Do they have veteran? Do they have teacher discounts? Maybe your wife's a teacher or you're a teacher. Guys, don't be afraid to ask for the deal, because it's these big ticket items that you want to save the money on. In shoes, again, you want to make sure you get the right pair that fits you perfectly, that is of a style that you're going to use again and again. And then right with that, with your big ticket item, I know so many guys, or at least I see it when I look at their feet, that they are not polishing, they are not conditioning, they're not taking care of their leather footwear. Now, the problem with this is, first, the shoes don't look as good as they could, but second, that polish is actually a protective layer. That thin wax layer keeps out water, keeps off grime that is often infused with salt, grease, and other contaminants that can work their way into the leather and over time get it to crack and to start to fall apart. Now, depending on where you live and how rough you are with your shoes, probably at least once a month, you want to be going over and conditioning the leather. Your leather shoes can dry out, again, especially if salt is introduced or if you live in a really dry area like the desert. So you want to be applying a conditioner, which is going to re-moisturize the leather and prevent it from cracking. In addition, if you bought a quality pair of shoes and you put a lot of miles on it, and let's say it was Goodyear welted, you can actually, for about 1/3 or less the cost of the shoes, take them into a cobbler and get them actually resold. And if you don't have anyone local, just look online. You don't have to send it back to the original manufacturer. There are tons of options out there if you look for them. Now, what if you got 5 shirts, maybe from an estate sale, a buddy of yours passed them over to you. They're in great shape, but they're just a little bit too big, like at least 1, maybe even 2 sizes. So this is when understanding the basics of adjustments is really useful. And it's not that difficult. Tons of tutorials online how to dart a shirt. This can easily bring in 2 to 4 inches in the waist and torso area. How to hem your own trousers. This is very common, even if you buy something off the rack, that it's going to need to be shortened a bit in the length. How to slim up a pair of trousers on the leg line. A little bit more advanced, but not too difficult, believe it or not. In fact, be careful. Once you pick up a few skills with a sewing machine, all of a sudden people are going to find out and you're going to get things being set in your way. Who knows? You could start your own little side business there and make some extra money. But in any case, gents, remember, it's about being self-sufficient. Even Rambo knew how to sew clothing and put it together. Now, early in this video, I talked about the importance of neutrals, but I also want to hit on the importance of classic clothing. And I've talked about the Lindy effect before. This came out of Seinfeld, but it's the idea that the longer something has been around, the longer it is going to be around in the future. And that's what I love about classic menswear, because you can spend a little bit more on a classic piece knowing that it's not going to go out of fashion. And this trend has been, going for about 50 years. It's probably going to go for another 50 years. So when you're looking to pick up pieces for your wardrobe, maybe shop in off-season, another great way to be able to save. You spot that classic navy turtleneck. Okay, turtlenecks I know aren't for everyone. I love them, but also you see, hey, this thing is 70% off. Cashmere, it fits me well, absolutely beautiful. You know this is a timeless piece. Well, guess what? If you put it on, you like the look, go for it, because you just snagged yourself an awesome deal. The same with a classic pea coat, or maybe you found a whole bunch of Henleys on sale. The point is, if you know you're going to use it and you know it's not going out of style anytime soon, it becomes a lot easier to spend the money knowing that you're getting a piece that's going to serve you for years. Now, if you're looking to level up your style, you really need to check out my free community over on School. I've set this community up so we've got free classes that you can make your way through step by step and learn the basic foundations of men's style. We actually have giveaways. In fact, over the last year, I've given away over $25,000 in gear that has accumulated here in my office, and I love sending it out to you guys free of charge. And I have to say, the men that are in this group are friggin' awesome. We've got a no a-hole policy. People treat each other with respect. And what we've managed to create in this community is a place where a man can come in and ask questions and get some solid advice. So gents, use the link in the description of today's video. Go check out our free communities on School. These are for you to become the man you know yourself to be. Now, for this last one, I know some of you guys may disagree, but I don't think being stylish means that you have to spend a lot of money. Yeah, you can buy very expensive fragrances or fancy watches, but the reality is, you can get a good looking Seiko, I think for $100-$150, and that's just fine. Maybe grab an Orient. Those are great watches, and they're going to cost you a fraction of a Rolex. When it comes to fragrances, yes, I love Creed, but the reality is there are tons of dupes, tons of fragrances out there that are very similar to that expensive scent that you're trying to get. And if you're an up-and-coming guy on a budget, you should never be ashamed for doing the best you can with what you got. So what did I miss? What would you guys add? Guys, let me know. And if you want to watch another video, boom, right here. If you want to learn how to save, I go into a lot more detail here. This video I put out a while back, but the information is solid. If you want to be able to save money when buying online, guys, I got you covered in this video. Boom, right here. Yeah, go check it out.